I just realized I have my headphones on backwards. Hello. I promised you Tuesday vlogs, and we are back in the saddle after conference season has largely ended. I've been recuperating by sleeping as much as possible. Yay! Uh, this is a spontaneous broadcast. We'll see if anybody joins, but check it out. So on this Thursday in 2 days, noon Pacific / 8 p.m. UTC, we've got a new episode of Dayglow where David Groom and I will be messing around with Meshtastic. Um, I'm also going to be bringing my badge from Hackaday SuperCon earlier last month, and using the spectrum analyzer on that to mess around with it, and while doing stuff with Meshtastic, as well as comparing some different LoRa communication protocols, because I'm curious about, like, I know that there's ones that are designed for security. I've actually got a whole separate piece of hardware besides the SuperCon badge that is designed for specifically secure communication over LoRa, but not Meshtastic. So I'm gonna be bringing all of those and seeing what happens. Because I didn't. I meant to order a large antenna to make a house setup, but in like advance of this episode, didn't happen. That's fine. A lot of stuff I'm catching up on after conferences, and so one new thing, actually, is that I've been spending a bunch of time sewing some new warm things for my apartment because I kind of hate having the heating on. It's nice, but also it doesn't get that cold here, and I hate having the air blowing on me and the variable temperature. So I actually got a kigurumi, and this one is a Grim Reaper themed one. But I turned it into a two-piece because I find that one-piece garments are inconvenient for actual use. So now it's in two pieces. We got these massive pants and this like cute little like Grim Reaper hoodie thing. So I've just been like messing around. I made some little crappy fleece arm warmers as well from an ancient Snuggie. The Hackster office got a couple of Snuggies like years and years ago, and I inherited them when we shut down the office. So I've been like creating further warm garments since. Anyway, so Thursday, we got new Dayglow episode. You can check out dayglow.show for more informations. You can also follow me on Twitch or LinkedIn or Mastodon and look at the Dayglow Show hashtag or Blue Sky. Same deal. And you'll get updates pushed right to you if you have your notifications on. Also, I'm excited to share that this thing has 27 days left on it. This is by my friend Billy. It is something that I actually really want to get my hands on one of these because I've lost my HDMI capture card that I was using, which is such a convenient device. It allows you to basically treat the HDMI out on a device like a Raspberry Pi as a webcam going into another device, a USB webcam. And this is a similar thing, except that it also allows you to use a keyboard and mouse with whatever device it is. So you get the display out as well as keyboard and mouse input. So you can, if you're like, you can pipe. The way I use it is when I'm recording tutorials for example on Raspberry Pi, I can pipe the screen directly to my computer screen that I'm like doing the recording and stuff on, and then it makes it very easy to record stuff without like pointing a camera at the Raspberry Pi monitor is just a terrible idea all around. I think KVM stands for, in fact, keyboard, video, and mouse. But anyway, that's going for 27 more days. I'm really excited about a couple of updates that I've made to PCBs. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I might get around to, I don't think I'll fully get around to assembling this, but I have my old Joule Thief PCB, and I'm designing a new one for the holidays that's shaped like a candle. And so one thing I need to do is I got some SOT23 transistors, a tiny little form factor, and I'm going to be testing at some point how those work together. Where the heck did they go? They're so tiny! I had a couple of them right here, and now they've vanished. I'm not shocked. Oh my gosh. Oh no, here they are. Okay. I bought two different ones to sort of test out. They're just that big. and I'm going to be making a custom footprint in KiCad/KiCad for those. And also, check these out. Mm. These are some that I showed my design process for, and they have fully arrived. So this is a little LED blinky, but I think I don't know, I don't think I showed these actually on the camera before, but these are the sort of demo version where they are green and silver. The final ones I'm waiting on, which are going to be blue and gold. Actually, this seems to work better with the focus if I just show you straight up on my camera. So, uh, yeah. I was trying for the first time to do a design that I fully hand draw. In the past, what I've done with hand-drawn designs in KiCad is I'll show you my iPad to KiCad tutorial again. This guy explains the process, but basically I design the circuits in KiCad, and then I take a screenshot and bring that into Procreate on my iPad, where I basically just doodle on it a bunch. And in the past, I've just doodled around the circuit. You can see all my layers and stuff in here. And then I export that and import it back into KiCad using their BMP importer tool. And that works really well these days, in fact. And you have to choose black and white layers, so black on white or white on black, depending on which layer you're importing. So copper, silkscreen, or solder mask. And then I typically draw the outlines in the edge cuts layer, although I've been making use of the non-plated through holes because otherwise PCBWay complains at me that I don't have a drill file if both of these holes I had previously on the edge cuts layer as just circle cutouts, but when I turned them into large and small non-plated through holes, the process went much more smoothly. So that's nice. Also learned some stuff about how close I can get the copper to the edges. So they want to have, I think, a 0.2 millimeter distance to the edges, but it seems like they seem to have actually put it all the way up to the edges for this one. And then, what was the other issue? Anyway, I'm gonna do a blog post about all this, but I kind of like the arcane design on this bad boy. You can see this is a CR1225 surface mount battery clip, footprint, zoop. Oh yeah, the whole point of that ramble was that now instead of importing just the graphical elements and sort of laying them down around the circuit, for this one, for the first time, I just drew the entire circuit, including like little swooshy bits for where, for example, the switch goes over here, and down here the resistor, and up here the diode LED. So had a lot of fun with the battery on this, actually. I was going full arcane here. A couple of gems for the positive side and a big hex thingy-majig for the ground. Yeah, so, oh, I should actually turn it on for you. Lol. This is basically just like a super simple style of blinky that you can embed in jewelry, is the idea that, like, I have some, for example, beetle wings, like beetle elytra, this like iridescent green and blue wing casings from beetles that I want to turn into earrings and then like have them do this sort of backlit shine thing, which looks really cool when you wear it like that. So that's new. I'm very excited. I'm also doing an updated version of the Joule Thief, like I mentioned. So I'm not that thing, this one, which I've also got a tutorial for this guy. It lets you run stuff off of dead batteries, basically. And you can also wear this one as an earring, because I'm like that. But I've got some new ferrite cores. Previously, what I've done is basically I've got a big old box of, well, I got multiple boxes of things, but like, I made a T-light adapter that you can use, oh, here, to basically, you know these little LED T-lights that basically, you know, they run on CR2032 coin cell batteries and they run out of battery and then they're just dead forever? Well, I mean, you gotta keep feeding them batteries or else they're dead forever. Now it runs on a AA battery or AAA battery or whatever, and it'll even if that battery is dead, basically this circuit amplifies the voltage, so it'll continue running until the battery is like dead, and it's fantastic because to me that feels like a really wonderful little circuit. It's kind of magical in a way. I always have trouble explaining it, but I'm gonna try and get a spiel down for next time. And it uses some scrounged parts as well. So this is my other box of like power adapters and also CFL compact fluorescent bulbs. Be careful with these. Don't do this at home unless you're stupid. And basically ripping ferrite cores out of anything I could find that had them, which generally looks something like this. And then you strip the wires off and stuff. And you use them as part of the Joule Thief circuit. So not all CFLs seem to have these, and sometimes they've got like big blocky ones that are sort of in two parts. And so I was like, if I'm going to, I would love to make this into like a kit. And actually, I'm trying to send these to my relatives for the holidays because the candle design that I'm making now is going to be good for a gift. But ordered a bunch of these from Newark, so I'm going to see if I have like a standard one. Isn't that good? If I can like figure out a good standard one to put in there, and I'll just have a bunch of these and I can send them out. I didn't know these were going to be blue, but I'm very happy that they are. And all the wisdom that I've learned in the past from people about this Joule Thief circuit is generally people will just say, oh, just use any ferrite, as though like everyone just has ferrite cores laying around, which I did not. I don't know about you, but that's just not a thing that I usually have around. I think if you've like got more decades of experience in hardware, then maybe you do. But I'm very excited to like learn more about ripping them out of stuff, but also like have this sort of standard that I can give to people and maybe test a couple of different ones. I also got these SOT32 footprint transistors, which I think I might have mentioned, and I'm going to be using those instead of the large NPN transistors. I mean, large is relative, but you know, standard NPN transistors on this guy. So both making it bigger to be a candle form factor and also making it smaller in components, and also putting a bigger, more rugged switch on that bad boy. So here's the update that I made to my Ouija ESP8266 programming PCB. This is the old one, and oh, this is an old one. It doesn't even have the earring hole in it. So I do have a version of this that I wear as an earring, and I love it. But this is what it looks like assembled. When you're programming an ESP module with it, basically you got this header that you plug the module into. This is a little ESP8266 ESP01 module. It is basically a super simple, cheap little Wi-Fi server thing that can like both connect to Wi-Fi access points and like do stuff like read a website and then like update an LED according to the temperature or something like that. Or it can also like serve a tiny little access point and have like a captive portal where it tells some information or something. And this is an FTDI cable hookup for it. You got 6-pin header for that, and then on the back you've got program and reset pins. And in the past I had this so this is a decoupling capacitor, and I've been learning a little bit more about those. It just goes between the power and ground pins as close to the chip as possible, and I was bending it around so I could check what value it is. It's 0.1 microfarads. Without that, you can just lay this on a desk and click it like a mouse to put it in programming mode, but with the capacitor, not so much. So the new version has both the earring hole and a new decoupling capacitor. So excited about that. I got a couple other things to show you that are fun that I've picked up recently. Do I have those capacitors here? Nah. But, am I forgetting anything? There's so much stuff I wanted to share. Because it's been a while. I was, like I said, conference season is kind of just recently wrapped, which means that in between those events, I was kind of like feverishly working to fix my KiCad setup, and then I got this like dopamine bomb of like, yes, I fixed the setup, now I can like make all the PCBs I've been wanting to make an upgrade for the last couple of years. It feels so good. And yeah, so that's been happening. And in the course of that, I've also obtained a couple of other things. Whenever I'm at Walgreens, I always check out the pill containers section because they are really good for storing little electronics. So, um, for example, I will use these little pill pouches for PCBs. It's really convenient. Here's some older ones. I had like a 200, 400 something pack of those. But check out what I found the other day. This is so cool. So this is a bunch of tiny little containers, and it's got these little things, so it sits flat on a surface, and it's got this really wonderful, so satisfying. These are actual hinges, so it's more durable than like a living hinge situation. And then each of these little guys has 3 compartments, and it has a silicone type lid that's very tight, and the compartments are completely separated from each other. This is I've used some previous pill packs for like earrings and different types of PCBs and components and stuff, and there are consistent problems with like, oh, the lid doesn't fit tightly enough. Oh, the components bleed like leak into each other and stuff. These things, amazing. And I was thinking that like, oh, maybe I'll put like all the components for a particular kit together or something. I decided that that wasn't a great idea, but I think what I am going to do is put a few testers from each of my little components into here, and then I will have just like a few on hand, because basically I have like a bag like this per kit, and I'm changing these so that they'll just be like a few baggies with like a bunch of each component. It'll be smaller, and then I'll store the bulk of the components, like just one bin for all of these, so I don't have a separate, stash of identical battery clips for 3 separate kits. That's kind of stupid. I can just refill each kit baggie from the central store, and in the meantime, I'll have also a few of each component in one of these. So this will maybe be like LED, like blue LEDs, like 3 different blue LEDs I was testing or something. I don't know. Or just LEDs in 3 different colors, and then one for different types of switches, like large and small surface mount ones and some through-hole ones. And they'll all be in here so that when I want to solder an example and use it for something, then I can do that. And I'm using these Charmware guys, which are from like 2018 or something, to make little testers for each of my surface mount LEDs and other components so that I can easily hook them up to a little power source and test them. Let me show you actually the updates I've made to that. So Charmware, I'm kind of going really fast and not really explaining stuff very well. So let's look at Charmware. All these things that I'm talking about have tutorials on hackster.io. So if you look at hackster.io/glowaski, put it in the comments here. Let's see. This is that programming planchette / earring that I showed you. And here's how it looks as an earring. Did I mention that I love this? I love this board so much. You gotta love the boards you make, because like, who else is gonna love them for you? This is actually a little bouquet that I made with that Joule Thief circuit that runs on dead batteries. Here's that iPad to KiCad tutorial with hand-drawn PCB art in my process. And what I'm looking for is, here's that T-light adapter. What I'm looking for is, oh, Charmware, yeah. I already pulled that up. Here we go. So, back in 2018, I was making basically these little modules, and I called this one the Dyson because it was on this whole like astronomy thing, and the power source is a Dyson sphere. It's not a sphere, but close enough. And so this is a little multi-purpose module that basically it allows you to solder one of pretty much anything with 2 pins to it, or 2 contacts. So in the center, that's a 1206 surface mount footprint that allows you to solder on LED or a resistor or whatever. And then across, so basically you see it's just like 2 poles. And then here you can put a resistor through hole, and here you could put a through hole like reed switch or whatever, as you see in this picture, or a tilt switch or anything like that. You can also attach things like haptic vibration motors, buttons, and stuff like that. Anything you wanted to just string together. Originally I called them PCBs, but I decided Charmware was a cooler name. So here's the battery module. Here's that guy. Now I want to show you the updates that I've been making. So let's fire up KiCad here. And I gotta open the project. Where are ya? Aha! Haha. Okay. And then I have to stop sharing this so that then I can start sharing my entire screen over there. Stop screenshot. Share screen. If you got any questions, let me know, because I'm trying to make this clearer as I go, but I do kind of tend to both ramble and go way too fast sometimes. So here's the new one. You still have this sort of two-pole design. However, there's a much clearer way to indicate if one side is ground and one is positive, and one is positive and one is negative. You don't have to, you could put a non-polar thing on there like a ceramic capacitor or a resistor or whatever, but if you do have a diode, it'll be very clear now. That's one irritating thing about the previous version. Another thing about the previous version is I showed you that there's these two huge planes for power and ground on here, just big old copper pores under there. And those, let me tell you, well, obviously they suck up the heat. They suck down all the heat from your soldering iron, and they also stay hot for a long time. So you're going, oh, ah, whenever you're trying to like pick it up afterwards, which I always get overeager and want to like grab it and touch it as soon as possible afterwards. So now those are just going to be little traces, and they should also be a little lighter because of that. Maybe not significantly, but somewhat. Also, I don't know why I put those copper pores on both sides. That was kind of a silly. Oh, because obviously it's through holes. Anyway. So now also these mounting holes. So these were originally designed as strain relief. Let me just throw that around. These guys for you to like thread wires through, and I've got an example of this somewhere around here. That's not what this is. Where the hell is it? Well, you can see it in the picture on the tutorial. Pull that back up. On here, you see how I've got these wires sort of threaded through here so that it relieves some of the mechanical strain instead of the solder joints taking that strain. Now I've turned those into plated through holes so that they also will work as alligator clip contacts. So if we look at the render here, it's a little clearer to see that these are now contacts. What I've got going on in the process here, this is not finished. This little fan shape here is going to be what the contact will be shaped like as soon as I get it to work, by which I mean the thing of where I can combine a copper pore with the actual pad here that is the plated through hole. I've been following what I thought was the standard process, and I looked it up a bunch, and I'm still having problems getting it to like meld properly to combine this shape or a filled pore in the same shape with the through hole. I don't know why it hates me, so I'm just going to keep working on that and try to get that to be the proper shape so that I can attach alligator clips if desired. And then I've added a spot for a label because I have been using these. I've got a stash of like a bunch of these left over from, again, 2018. And what I've been doing with them for the last few years is using them as testers for all the different 1206 size LEDs that I have, which I always use that size because it is easy to solder both with a hot plate and by hand. So it's a pretty large one, but it's also still pretty compact. So I've been using these to, I've got like, I'm like, I want to find, a reasonable voltage LED that is like the right color, like a nice color and also a nice brightness, because I've been burned by that in the past. And so I just like solder one down to one of these, and then I can like easily test it against other ones. So I've put a label on here now so that you can actually remember which one is which is has been a problem in the past. So now I can easily tell which side is positive and which is ground. I can easily tell which frickin' LED it is. And if I wanted to, I could easily hook up alligator clips, or more likely, probes for like a multimeter. Um, as you would see, is this my, yeah, this is my like hacked together probes multimeter. I'll show you. Glorious DIY. Look, I put matching heat shrink on there. Oh yeah. And then also right at the ends so that you can tell what which contact you're using. So I really like having these little hook connector probes on my multimeter because I'm always trying to juggle a bunch, like 5 different things in my hands, like, you know, this little like tester guy and the battery and like the all kinds of other stuff. If you watch any of my streams, you'll see me doing that, and it's horrible, but I don't care. Anyway, so that'll make it easier for me. And people who like alligator clips, I'm not a huge fan of them. I think they mar the surface of everything and are never like make good enough contact or like hold well enough, like sturdily enough. But for you, I put those on there. So anyway, that's the Charmware update. And did I actually order any of these yet? No, because I'm trying to figure out that pad shape problem in KiCad. I'm also going to be making some custom footprints for these AA battery holder clips that I got. Because for the Joule Thief candle, it's going to have a AA version and a AAA version, and I want to be able to like give them to people in pairs so that like I definitely have a big old box of old AA and AAA batteries separately because before I got rechargeable ones and before I started using more more devices that use supercapacitors, these are two other people's projects. LED jewelry stuff that uses supercapacitors. This is by California Steam, and this is by Chipperdoodles. It's the Anwar, gorgeous little thing. But anyway, I haven't used supercapacitors yet, but I would love to learn that magic next in the future. But for now, I have a crap ton of batteries that are just sitting around being kind of dead. What else is I going to talk about? Anything? Oh, yeah! So I told you about this wonderful little organizer. So I think in each of these compartments, I'm going to put like, you know, one of each, or like a few of my most commonly used components so that I just have them all on hand in one place. But also I can put a little Charmware tester for each of the LED ones so that I'll know. Like, it'll be right there. It'll be so good. Anyway, the other thing that I got hold of is some Mechanic brand UV Cure solder mask. So basically you squirt this onto your PCB and then, you know, purple, green, whatever color you want, and then you cure it just like with gel fingernail polish, I guess, which I haven't used, or resin, like the same kind of like curing process for like nail polish or resin art or whatever. Do the same thing with the solder mask. And I got a couple of different colors because I want to do some things with it. This should both be useful for stuff that I get elsewhere, like maybe I can put it on stuff as a label or something, but also, like especially this white, I think for previous Charmwares, but I can also I use whiteout for that as well. But anyway, but also I've gotten my Bantam desktop PCB mill back from a friend. Bantam PCB mill. This is a super old one, but I'll show you their new stuff. Mine is not nearly so fancy, but I did get it very graciously for free from them as a sort of like tester slash demo years ago. Oh, this one's $7,000. My goodness. These are the people, by the way, who acquired the Axie draw of Evil Mad Scientist Labs. So anyway, now I'll be able to hopefully mill my own PCBs at home again to make a tester every now and then because I'm always running late on projects. I know no one else resonates with this at all. But yeah, always running late on projects. Therefore, it would be cool to have some solder mask on hand to be able to like actually make them work well. I've also noticed that if you mill too small of traces, they tend to lift up, like the copper will detach from the FR4 fiberglass base, and that's no good either. So having more stuff on top, I think, will help. Another thing I'm doing that I didn't mention in my note and think about this, but it's sitting here, is years and years ago, I was playing with labradorite and bismuth, and I made these little earrings um, that are designed basically so that this part goes through your ear, and then that part hangs down. And I matched two different flavors of bismuth and labradorite. So these two earrings do not match each other, but they do match themselves. And I just think it's incredible the way that these like stones and this mineral sort of echo each other. Isn't that such gorgeous? I just think it's incredible. Both of these materials to me are so beautiful and strange. And it's just amazing to me the way that they match each other. So I designed a little, these things are kind of fragile and they're also very heavy. So I've designed a little ring that I'm gonna end up, I think, attaching these to. The idea is basically, especially this one kind of that fell apart, and I gotta use a better adhesive this time. But basically bismuth on in the little divot, and I'll put the labradorite on this side, the cabochon, and then I'll make just like a ring instead. And I think it'll be a lot easier to A, tell if it's falling apart so I can catch the parts, and B, also just wear it around because it'll be more comfortable. So really I just have to pick an adhesive and find the time to stick those together. What else is new? Kigurumi, sewing a bunch of stuff, arm warmers. I've been playing more guitar again. I wrote a couple of songs and getting a bunch more sleep. And then yeah, so on Thursday we got this Dayglow show happening. Let me pull that up again. And make it bigger. I don't want to mess with that. Anywho's, Dayglow is happening. It's dayglow.show, or follow me on YouTube. You can also find this playlist. I'll put this in the comments for anybody on YouTube or Twitch. LinkedIn doesn't let me post it, but you can also find it on my LinkedIn or on my Mastodon or my Blue Sky. Or in general, just you can go on there and search for hashtag Dayglow Show. Or you can go to my webpage at alexglow.notion.site and find links to those here as well. Oh, I swear I put a header on this thing that actually says what it is, but it seems to have eaten it. That's odd. Anyway, you can always go there and find this stuff. Or just, yeah, it'll be on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitch, just like this. All right. That's all I got for you. I managed to keep it fairly short this time. Yay! Tuesday update vlog thing. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will be back with you on Thursday for Dayglow, where David and I are going to be hacking on Meshtastic and related protocols. He also has some super secret unique item that's I think like an advanced unit for some new kind of tech. And I'll be doing more with my shiny new PCBs. Hopefully a couple more of them will have arrived by then. I've ordered some of the new Ouija board programmer planchette slash earring with the decoupling capacitor, and maybe I'll solder that up. And then also I've got the new Joule Thief boards coming through. That's basically this, but in the shape of a candle. I'm also waiting on some flame effect LEDs with like a candle flicker flame effect, like circuit built into the LEDs, so that I can really have the candle version of the Joule Thief running off of dead batteries and flickering like an actual candle would, but all in like a sort of solid state situation. So stay tuned for more PCBs and updates there too. Stay tuned for Meshtastic hacking, and also when I turn these into actual jewelry, it's going to be awesome. And some more like weird arcane PCB designs. I think that's going to be like the flavor of stuff for the winter. Really enjoying just digging in and bundling up and stuff. So thanks for hanging out, and hack on.